And of course you can add other filters like not trading after like 7 consecutive shifts, so maybe when the market is a bit overextended or anything like that. But today we need something really simple. That's why we basically wait for daily shifts, then see overall context in general, and just try to follow 1 hour ranges to the downside. And basically that's all, just finding some patterns from the strategy. So again, what we know about this market is that during a big period of time, because we kind of saw it in hindsight, yeah, it will move really to the downside. Sometimes it will make bullish redistributions, bullish moves for redistributions, and then continue lower. So during this period of time, we will basically just stay out from the market because it will be still overall bearish. Okay, so let's start, and I want to remind that every setup should be journaled. So I will not do it now just to save some time, but basically what you want to do is to journal like your daily chart and your entry chart, which is for this backtesting is 1 hour, or even more screenshots and notes and so on and so on. So what do we have here is a break of structure based on the rules we discussed before. And now we created a pullback. So until this market stays below this point, so this is the protected high based on the rules, and until it hits this point, basically even after that, some time to follow the impulse, we can look at 1 hour for our entries. Again, we should not analyze context too much because we just know that the overall context is bearish. But if you look at this could be treated as some kind of distribution based on the fact that we had a series of liquidations back and forth in structure, so up, down, up, down, up, down, and now starting to show some bearishness again. At this point, it's not an indication of like pure bearishness because it can still go up, but it can be treated like a confirmation of this bearish idea at this moment. And of course, later when the market will just start breaking and basically show something like this in other direction, then of course it will be like really bearish. And now on 1 hour, we just want our confluence, and that's all. So right now 1 hour is bullish, but we want to shift it bearish and then either trade the deepest zone, or we don't even need the comeback into the zone, maybe the development of inside structure, and we are good to go as well for our entry. So now what is happening here is that we have this daily bearish push from here, and this could be treated as redistribution in such kind of moves. So overall, from this, we expect a continuation to the downside, and invalidation of this redistribution pattern would be maybe something like this, and then shift to the upside, and then shift to the upside. So this will be like a complete invalidation on 1 hour, but it will still be bearish up to this point from the daily. So let's see how it all develops. So at this point, what we have is a development of inside structure and even fractal redistribution, because if you can see, we have a bullish push and a bearish push from here, and now it could be treated as fractal redistribution. So but let's for this backtesting, let's just wait for a real break of structures, okay, so structural moves, and go from there. Yeah, so something like this. we have this protected low and we have this this bearish move. So now we have a bearish impulse inside the daily bearish impulse, and this is good enough for us to take it. The like perfect entry would be from here with reconfirmation, but now I need to be careful because oh, and by the way, of course you need to trade the sessions that you trade in real life. So for me it's New York and London. So I see that this is Asia, so I will just skip. I just need to skip it until London comes, so something like this. And now we have one more break to the downside. So this is starting to look more bearish. So this is what we have here, and we have this zone and this zone. So this is why it's important for me, at least, not to enter straight from the zone. So you see how aggressively we are coming in the zone, closing deeply in the zone, and basically now like there is no one thing that is showing us that this market from here wants to go bearish. It could, but for me, for my entry, I would like to see at least some kind of stoppage of price or something like this, maybe a development of this fractal structure, or at least some kind of bearish indication. And what's interesting about this zone again is that we basically broke the last unmitigated portion, because if you can see how it all developed, it started from this up move, mitigated the up move, showed this imbalance, and now if the market continued to go down from here, it would better do it from this move already, but it didn't. It started mitigation and broke to the upside. So now, to be honest, my expectation is that we will mitigate this higher zone, so something here, but let's see. Okay, so yeah, and we are coming back, so not enough for me, and if I want to sell here, my stop loss will be like too big. Okay, still want to see this deeper mitigation, or I'm willing to let go this move and just miss this. Yeah, so I'm okay with this one. I will just trade like this new zone or this higher zone. So we have this break. Okay, and let's try to trade this one. So we have pretty clear zone, imbalance, some bearish indication. I want to sell either from here, so when the market will start to move down from here, or if it will go up, I will adjust my entry. So let's make it something like this. Now selling from this candle. Okay, so we are tapped in, the stop loss could be there, and we are just targeting 1 to 4, which is just below this daily protected low. So at this point, we can see that we have some fractal structure building, and now we need either to move stop loss a bit lower to 0.5 or to 0.75, and for break even we want to see a break of this level. So we have a break, technical break for this level, but I still want a more confident break. But at this point, I'm okay with moving my stop loss to 0.5. So somewhere here. So this will be my current stop loss, and let's see how it develops. So at this point, I'm definitely don't want to be it any kind of a loser. So I want it to be a break even. So I'm moving to break even now. And what I see is we are approaching, yeah, we are basically just approaching the New York, so we have all the time for this push, or of course market can easily go for redistributions, and then it will be a break-even trade. So at this point, yeah, at this point we hit take profit, and this is an example of what a trade can look like. And this is why sometimes you can be okay, or even like often you can be okay with missing the moves, because if you remember, I didn't want to enter here. I just wanted a bit deeper mitigation, and I completely missed the move. But at the same time, if I entered here with this break, I would most likely be break even, and then this trade would took me out at break even. So yeah, and at the same time, this next trade provided me even a better entry. Okay, so let's monitor the price further. We still don't have a break on the daily, but maybe let's just observe 1 hour. So 1 hour maybe we'll go for redistribution, so we'll have some breaks to the upside, and now breaks to the downside. Where we are in terms of daily, so we are now just broke the daily and creating a new range with this protected high and some downside. So our main target is this one from higher time frames. And let's see what we have on 1 hour. So we definitely have this really nice and clean break. Let's check the session. So it's still okay. Basically, I'm okay with shorting either this bigger zone with some build ups of structure, or this smaller one, refined one. So let's just see what happens. So we are just running away from the zone, all fine, and coming back to it. So I see maybe this move is a nice move from 4 hours. Again, let's just quickly check. Yeah, it's a structural move from 4 hours and a mitigation of this zone on 4 hours. I can say I really like this place on daily. Of course, we see that we are inside this fractal structure right now, and we can easily move to the downside from here. But at the same time, we are becoming relatively overextended based on this inside structure. So we have like 1 break, 2 break, 3 break, 4, 5, and it would be only logical to see this all tap a bit higher, or even more higher, because here I see that almost everything is mitigated. Okay. So I like the move on 4 hours, still expecting it for some redistribution, but on 1 hour it's like basically it's just bullish, and we don't even have anything from inside structure basis. So ideally we would have a break now to the upside, and then maybe look for this as a refinement of 4 hour zone. Okay, or so we already mitigating this bigger one. Well, what is the session? Okay, so I will just skip this to this London session. Yeah, mitigating the zone now, showing the signs of bearishness. So let's wait for a structural break to the downside to make it easier. So we want to trade now only structural breaks, and we have one now. Will it be the break? I don't know, but of course with the overall bearishness we have much more probabilities to the downside. So basically, if the price taps into it and then shows some bearishness as one more layer of confirmation, so now I'm good to sell this candle, and I want to use a bit tighter stop loss. So if it goes from here, then I think we are good to go much lower. And what we have here is this zone. So this is basically the last unmitigated zone. Yes, we have some refinements here, but this one mitigated whatever was here, and now we are mitigating it. If the price manages to break below, we are good to go. Okay, now if we break below this one, so what we have, I don't like the session, to be honest. It's close to Asia now, so even if we will enter, we will face the rollover. And yeah, but let's just, for the sake of backtesting, let's just try to enter this one. Okay, so we are tapped in, and now let's see if we can manage. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. We just entered and now started this range. So at this point, my expectation is really just to take this all out, go for a redistribution on 4 hours, and then go lower. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so we are basically holding the zone. So at this point, I'm okay with moving my stop loss to 0.5, so maybe above this one, just about. So this a bit more than 0.5, but let it be there. And if we break this low, I will be good to go to break even. So this is a break even trade now. And let's see if we hit the take profit. Yeah, so I survived basically. But this is what actually will happen in the live market as well, when you are really close to your take profit and the market starts to reverse. Of course, you can make your management a bit more complicated and just observe the market, what it will do near your take profit, because sometimes the market just crashes to take profit and sometimes it stays and goes for redistribution. So in this case it all worked out, but yeah, sometimes it will just reverse, and that's why you need a data collection. That's why you need to record how much your trades run, how the price usually behaves around your targets, and so on and so on. So for me, this is my usual style of management when I just have a fixed target, but now I have it at 7R usually, and then I know that when I enter my trades that are running, if they start to run, they usually hit the target. Okay, so let's move further a bit. Let's check where we are in terms of daily. And in terms of daily, we are moving down again. It would be really nice to see some redistributions. Of course, it can just fall from here, but yeah. I want to play a couple of candles on daily because now we are in the middle of nowhere, as they say, and near the low. Yes, we can go from here, but you see this place, I like it much better because we made this fractal move and now we are near some intermediate protected high. But here we are in the middle of this impulse, in the middle of this range, so I just want to see what the market wants to do. So either it wants to go for redistribution or to break down and create a new clear move for us to work with. Okay, so yeah, so this is already much better. So we already took out something from here, and I'm okay with taking some entries here to the downside. So if we will see some clear confirmations. So on daily we basically don't have a clear zone to work with. We just have this move maybe from 2 days. Yes, this is the protected high, which is technically is breaking, but because we are still inside these two impulses, so what we have here is this and this, and right now we are here, so we are breaking this, but we are mitigating something here. So still okay to go with good confirmation on 1 hour. So we already have one break, we already have a mitigation, and yeah, but I missed this entry, so let's wait for something, some more ranges. Okay, so definitely we are starting to build some better structure here with this break and with this break. We have this clear zone to work with, and then everything here is inside, so this is still a part of a chain. Ideally I would wait for this redistribution and then enter, but also if I see that the price wants to react from here, I'm also fine to enter from there. So let's see what the price will do. So approaching the zone and basically breaking the zone right away, you see. So this is why confirmations are so important, because if I wanted to enter just straight away from the zone, the price would just go like through me, and that's all. So this is why confirmations are important. This is why confirmations are important. So we now have a redistribution, and let's see. Yeah, basically I saw it on the daily candle that it will go down, but this is what we wanted to see. And now, after we took some liquidity, after we performed redistribution, we are much more confident in the overall direction. So let's have this bigger zone, a tap, and go from there, or letting it go to create new structure. So we just mitigated this bigger zone and starting to show reaction, starting to build these lows, and so the liquidity below it. So in these situations, the price will often just fall from it. But if it will go for deeper mitigation, and so one more fractal redistribution, I'm okay to short it. So let's see what will happen here. So I give more probabilities for the price to just break it. Yeah, so we break it. The new ranges are kind of not so good. We have this one. But I don't like the place where we are now. So we are a bit overextended structurally. So we want to see it to go a bit higher, and then enter from there. So something like this. Let me check on daily. Okay, so on daily we are starting this up move, so we will probably now start this up move, and then we will mitigate some zones. So we have this bigger zone and some refinements of this structural zone here, building these lows to liquidate them later, as we know, in this downtrend. So let's try to understand where the price will do it. Yeah, so this is this bigger redistribution. We are mitigating all these zones from daily. So now what we want to see it is one more break to the downside, to the upside, for a structural break, or we already have a build up of inside structure. So now either we go down from here, and we could have an entry, but for this backtesting we want structural breaks. So we basically want a structural break to the downside. Okay, something like this. And we have our structural range on 1 hour with this fractal redistribution, and we basically want to see a bit higher, a bit deeper mitigation, and then we are good to go even with inside structure, or break straight from here and enter later if it will be possible with the conditions of this backtest. Okay, yeah, so we have this redistribution and we have a break. Okay, nice. So what I like about this zone is that we have structural breaks from 1 hour, and before that we created this fractal redistribution. So this is really nice place to move forward to and to trade from. So we are mitigating this, and basically I'm okay with selling this one if it will break now to the downside from this candle. So kind of a sell stop. So no, so moving a bit higher. Nope, a bit higher. Okay, so we are tagged in, but continuing this up move. So let's just see what happens. So we have a break to the downside. Now we just need to manage. If we see one more break, I will move to 0.5 here, but now we can still go for some redistribution and liquidation of these intermediate lows. So we are almost near breaking this low and moving to break even, but at this point I don't want to see the price go basically above here. So this is why I move my stop loss here. I still give the price the place to mitigate something higher, but don't want it, because if it will be here, it will most likely go to my overall stop loss. Yeah, so you see, so I'm almost stopped out. So at this point, the only thing I'm expecting is just liquidation of me and even further liquidation to the upside. Yeah, you see, so we broke this one, and started to support this move. So this is a minus 0.5, and let's see how it will develop further. Let's take one more trade. So we have like two winners, one minus 0.5, and now let's try to catch this break. So now we have this really nice breaks on daily. So you see, this idea of distribution here should be more obvious. So we're already moving down, and also we are so let me check the timing. Oh my, okay, 25 minutes, and I had an intro before that, so maybe it's like 35. Okay, so let's take one more trade and basically dissolve, because we will also have a back testing without simplified, without not simplified back testing later. So what we have here is a basic pattern of break and a break and a break. Now moving on, mitigating this one. So our first expectation is downside, our second expectation is deeper mitigation and downside. So until we hold this, I'm good to go to my bearishness on 1 hour. So let's just try to catch it. So basically any structural shift on 1 hour and we are good to go. And the higher we go on 1 hour, the better for us before this shift, because we will have more space to work with to the downside. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of really nice. So we are mitigating this daily zone. Yeah, so we basically are performing redistribution on daily, mitigating this last unmitigated portion. So we kind of really want to go from here, because if we will go higher, everything here is mitigated. So what is the reason to be here? Then we need to go even higher for mitigation of maybe weekly moves and so on. So this is our first structural shifts. I kind of don't like too much these first shifts, because the market is still bullish on 1 hour. As you can see, it's still bullish, and for real trend change we want to see some back and forth for some time. So if I will get an entry here, I will really expect it to be liquidated. So let's see what we will have. So okay, nice. That's really nice. So we created some first intermediate highs, and now we liquidated them with a tap of in a zone. So I'm really confident. I mean, kind of confident to take this one, taking into consideration what I said before, that I want to see more back and forth before moving to the downside. The session is good. If we go above, below this, I'm good to go to new lows. Okay, now moving my sell stop here. So got tapped and got liquidated right away. And this will be our last trade. Let's just see how the market will develop. So basically from here, I want to see some back and forth in structure, and then go into the downside. Yeah, so you see, this is this kind of distribution is more likely to be a real distribution. So these are first shifts, and we are still here in this bullish move, but these places are much better, because you see what happened: downside, upside, internal downside, upside, a structural downside, structural upside, downside, downside, upside, upside, again downside, again upside, and now down, at last down. So from here we kind of want to see only bearishness from here or straight from here. So let's check this this theory with one more trade. Let's take one more trade and finish. Maybe, yeah, so we have downside just straight from there, and now we can go to the downside from here or from there. Don't like the session. Let's skip Asia. Okay. So we have structural move to the downside. From here, we are holding it here on structural basis. So now here it's a protected low based on the pullback rule. Okay, still holding, breaking with some news. Going for mitigation of the zone. So let's try to catch this move. So if we go below this one, we to go to the downside. And protect ourselves maybe a bit higher. So not yet. Okay, tapped. And let's see. Okay, liquidated again. And at this kind of zones, we are still good to go for re-entries, but now I see that we are pretty overextended from here. So I would expect maybe a move, then redistribution, and a move to the downside. But still good to go and take one more loss in this zone. So if we manage to break below this one, I'm okay with protecting here and going for these targets. So basically tapped. Don't want to go to 0.5 yet. Yeah, at this point moving to 0.5, so maybe below this one, and one more break definitely. Yeah, so now I want to take out this low, to be honest. Don't want to break even yet. To give it a bit more space. Okay, yeah, at this point I definitely want to be break even, so let's have our target at 4R. I definitely want to be break even, don't want the price to return to my entry or higher. Okay, so and this was a take profit. Yeah, so you see sometimes in the zone when it's big, you will be liquidated and then you can have a re-entry from there. Okay, so at this point I think it's okay to finish this kind of simplified backtesting. So you have everything in the beginning, how we set up the test, how we started it. So we already knew the overall direction, so it's much more simple compared to real backtesting. But at the same time it shows you the importance of having the correct bias, trying to understand what the market is doing, because basically if we see and if we analyze the price even without like knowing what is going to happen, at some points the market is like obviously more bearish or more bullish, and we will discuss it more on real backtesting. Okay, yes, it's a long video, but for those of you who are still here, thank you for watching, and I hope you found some interesting information here. See you in the next one.